My wife casually admitted I cheated with my boss, so what? I didn't argue. I just left something on the table. She called me panicking an hour later. The curry was cold. Her phone was buzzing, and I was halfway through telling her that the dog had started sleeping by the front door again, like he was waiting for someone. That's when she said it. I cheated with my boss. So what? It was just once. Just like that. Flat. Measured. She didn't even flinch. Just kept swirling her wine. Not even glancing up from her glass like she'd said she picked up the wrong oat milk. My fork paused mid-air. I looked at her. Not through her. Not past her at her. And in that still moment, I realized something bone deep. She wasn't telling me to confess. She was telling me to dare her to feel bad. I didn't give her that. I didn't ask for names. I didn't ask when or where or what he said to her that I hadn't in 15 years of marriage. I didn't ask anything. I simply put my fork down carefully, silently on the edge of my plate, took a napkin, wiped my hands, folded it neatly like I was packaging the last civil conversation we were ever going to have. Then I stood up. She didn't even look at me. Just kept eating like I was a weather pattern she'd already read the forecast for. No. I'm sorry. No. It was a mistake. Not even a goddamn shrug. And that's when I knew this wasn't the start of something. This was her finale. A closing monologue she'd rehearsed while applying mascara in the rearview mirror of her boss's Audi. The line she'd been dying to drop, just to see how I crumble. But I didn't. I walked to the sink, rinsed my hands with the same calm I used when troubleshooting corrupted server backups, dried them slowly, watched the condensation creep down the window above the sink like it was trying to escape too. Behind me, her fork clicked on her plate. She poured more wine. I opened the fridge, pulled out a bottle of water, and took a long sip, measured, cold, grounding. Not because I was thirsty. I needed my hands to do something other than wrap themselves around the lie she had just detonated in our kitchen. When I turned to leave the room, I said nothing. Not because I had nothing to say, but because what I was about to do didn't require words. She thought she'd just won a power play. She didn't know I don't play. Not until I control the board. She thought I'd storm out, slam a door, break a glass, maybe cry in the garage like some broken sitcom husband. That's what she was braced for. An explosion she could diffuse with a few tears and a half-hearted. I didn't mean it. But I didn't give her noise. I gave her silence. And that silence echoed louder than anything I could have said. I went upstairs. Calm steps. No rush. No theatrics. The kind of quiet that unsettles predators when they realize the prey isn't running. She stayed downstairs, flipping through a mindless drama on Netflix, scrolling her phone like she hadn't just carved a hole in the middle of my chest and shrugged. She didn't even pause the show. I closed the bedroom door behind me and sat at my desk. The same one she once made fun of for being too old school. Said no one prints things anymore. Said real professionals live in the cloud now. Funny thing is, I agree. So that's where I started. The old tax returns, asset declarations, prenup scan, all of it went up, encrypted, backed up to 3 separate cloud services. Nothing named obviously, of course. One folder was called Q3 Strategy. Another, Photos_2011_trip. I wanted her to look right past them just in case she ever snooped. I copied the fidelity clause from the prenup, Section 9C, breach of fidelity forfeits spousal financial claim, and opened a new PDF. I added a note in my handwriting, scanned it, and saved it as clause_sign.pdf. My signature looked too clean, so I crumpled the paper, scanned it again. Perfect. Lived in. Real. She sent a laughing emoji to someone on her phone at exactly 9:27 p.m. I know because her notifications were mirrored to the family iPad. She didn't know that. She forgot we had synced them last year when she wanted to use it for some dumb presentation, and never bothered to turn off the sync. I watched the emoji blink across the screen. She was laughing. After that bomb she dropped, she was laughing. Good. Let her. Let her feel untouchable. I started a new folder. Not hidden, not buried. Front and center on my desktop. Just waiting. I named it Truth. But after a few seconds, I changed it. Truth sounds noble. Passive. Too philosophical. I renamed it Table because when the time came I wouldn't be yelling. I'd be setting the table and she'd choke on everything I prepared. Inside that folder I began placing things, screenshots from her cloud backups, a timeline of her work late nights aligned with rideshare receipts, A copy of the Slack message she once showed me from her boss about grabbing drinks without the team. I cross-referenced the message timestamp with a credit card charge, hers, at a hotel bar. 2 nights later, another charge. Same hotel. Oh. And her GPS location? Tracked by the family safety app. She thought it was just for our dog walker, but it updates in the background as long as she has it installed. She never uninstalled it. She thought I was slow, old, behind the curve. What she never realized was, I'm in IT. I build recovery plans for systems people forgot existed. And she's just another corrupted one I'm about to shut down. She went to bed humming. I heard her from downstairs brushing her teeth, walking barefoot across the floorboards, the creak of the mattress as she crawled into our bed like she hadn't detonated 15 years of marriage between bites of takeout. She didn't ask where I was, didn't call out, didn't come looking. Tara was used to me vanishing into my quiet places. That's the thing about being married to someone like me. You stop noticing when we go silent until that silence becomes the only thing left in the room. At 11:42 p.m., I stood in the garage, driver's side door open, radio off, phone face down. The engine wasn't running. I didn't need motion. I needed stillness. Something about the air duct, the faint scent of WD-40, the hollow echo of my own breath, it helped me think. On the passenger seat sat a black flash drive. Nondescript, 64 gigabytes. The kind we get in bulk for vendor demos. On it? Everything. Her texts. Her GPS routes. The night she said she was at a team building retreat, and I found the matching Uber Eats receipt delivered to a hotel 2 towns over. Her voice recorded in mid-laugh as she told someone on the other end, he still thinks I'm on a Zoom call. Her guy. End of prenup. Of course. Highlighted, notarized, signed. Her signature still smooth and confident, like she believed it would never matter. I looked at that flash drive the way you might look at a final chess move. Not flashy, just definitive. At 3:17 a.m. I wrote a note. 7 words. No threats. No pleading. No anger. Just a sentence. Neutral. Clean. You always said I was predictable. I folded it once, tucked it into a plain white envelope, and slid in the flash drive behind it. It made a soft plastic click against the paper. On the front of the envelope, I didn't write her name. I wrote one word. Enjoy. There was something almost surgical in how it all came together. Cold. Precise. No drama. I didn't even hear my own heartbeat anymore. I went back inside. The lights were dim, she was asleep. Breathing soft and shallow. No trace of guilt in her face. No flicker of remorse twitching behind her eyelids. I stood there a minute. Just looking. I realized I didn't recognize her anymore. She looked like a stranger playing house in my life. Borrowing my routines, sleeping in my bed, walking my halls like she earned them. I didn't kiss her goodbye, didn't even pull the door all the way closed. By 5:15 a.m., I had showered, dressed and left the house. Before I walked out, I placed the envelope exactly where it needed to be, on the kitchen table, centered, facing her chair. It would be the first thing she'd see when she came down for her morning coffee, still smug from the night before. Let her sip her espresso with a splash of dread. Let the flavor change in her mouth the second she sees that word, enjoy. The drive didn't scream. It didn't accuse. It didn't dramatize. It simply presented. Folder 1, messages. Time-stamped, screenshot, clean as a lab report, conversations with her boss, late-night strategy talks, emojis that said more than words ever could, and one particularly bold message that read, "The way you looked at me in the elevator made me forget I'm even married." He replied with a heart. She replied with a hotel name. No further explanation. Folder 2, locations. Hold from the Find My Pack family safety app she forgot was active. It didn't matter that she turned off location sharing in her iPhone settings. Apps talk. Apis whisper. She didn't think to unlink it from our family account. March 9th, 6:42 p.m. Tara's phone was parked in a Holiday Inn Express parking lot for 4 hours. She told me she was catching up on a presentation at a Starbucks. 2 days later, same hotel, same boss, Uber receipt time stamped to the minute. It lined up so perfectly, it felt like watching dominoes fall in slow motion. Folder 3, audio. She never knew I'd upgraded the security cams. The kitchen mic caught her talking on speakerphone one night while making a salad. Tara, laughing. He's never going to leave his wife. But I don't care. I like the risk. The sound of the knife chopping cucumbers right after that. Genuinely chilling. Like she was slicing guilt into chewable pieces. Folder 4, Legal. Scan PDF of our prenuptial agreement. Section 9C. Violation of the monogamy clause voids all claims to jointly acquired assets. Her signature, clear as day. Right under it, a new page. My fresh signature. Dated. A notarized declaration. I intend to file for divorce upon confirmation of the breach outlined above. No threats, no hypotheticals, just confirmation and execution. Each file was named in perfect order. 01 message log. PDF. 02 location tracking. CSV. 03 kitchen audio. MP3. 04 prenup scan.pdf. 05 declaration notice.pdf. No weird labels. No vengeance-fueled monikers like cheater proof or terror lies. That would have cheapened it. No. This was done with sterile precision. It wasn't revenge porn. It was a data set. By the time she'd click open the drive, she wouldn't be wondering if she was caught. She'd be calculating how long I'd been documenting. The answer? Long enough to make sure when she said, "So what?" the universe finally answered back. My phone lit up at exactly 7:42 a.m. while I was sipping bitter office coffee across from a man named Ron Leibovitz, divorce attorney, veteran of 1,000 scorched earth breakups and the kind of guy who doesn't blink when someone says, "I want her out of the house, out of my accounts, and out of my future." The screen showed, Terra, mobile. I didn't answer. Ron slid a legal pad toward me. Timeline, documents, digital proof. You said you have it all? I clicked open the folder on my laptop labeled for counsel, mirrored directly from the one called table. I nodded. All dated. All backed up. Another buzz. Text message. Tara, what is this? What is this? Third buzz. Calvin, please call me. I didn't mean it like that. The back pedal had begun. I imagined her standing at the kitchen table in her overpriced robe, espresso cup trembling slightly in her hand, the envelope torn open like she thought it might contain flowers or an apology. And instead, truth. Cold. Curated. Brutal. I could practically hear the catch in her throat when she realized the USB wasn't for us to talk through it. It was the end of the conversation. Buzz, we need to talk. Please. I didn't know you had this. Of course, she didn't. She thought I was the guy who forgets birthdays unless Outlook reminds him. The guy who double-checks locks twice because he's cautious, not calculating. She'd mistaken quiet for clueless, stillness for sleep. She forgot I spend 10 hours a day in systems that require fail-safes, rollbacks, and recovery protocols. I don't build things that can fall apart. So when she gambled our marriage on a one-night thrill with a middle-aged man-child in a corner office, she didn't realize I'd already started the exit sequence. She didn't see the backup plans sinking in the background while she laughed into hotel pillows. Ron skimmed the prenup printout, then looked up with a raised eyebrow. You highlighted the clause. Figured we'd save time, I said. He chuckled. You're a cold bastard. No, I corrected, sliding the flash drive across the table. I'm just done being the fool. Buzz, final message. Calvin, if we're still married, you owe me a conversation. I put the phone face down, not on silent. I wanted to hear the next bus. I wanted the room to vibrate with her unraveling. She was spiraling now. Not because she cheated, but because she realized I prepared for it quietly, methodically, with the kind of patience that doesn't shout. It just executes. The moment she realized the envelope wasn't a bluff, she went full scorched earth. At 8:04 a.m., the first damage control instinct kicked in. She tried to wipe her phone. I know because I received an alert from our shared Apple ID that her device had performed a factory reset attempt. Childish, desperate, and about 4 days too late. I'd already mirrored her iCloud to a cloned archive on a separate server weeks ago, time-stamped and shelved. Hell, even her deleted items had been preserved in triplicate. She was clawing at smoke. Her second move? She called him Mr. Strategic Vision himself. Her boss, also married. Also very much a poster boy for the kind of executive her company paraded in front of investors when they needed to appear stable, ethical, trustworthy. I watched the call flash across the mirror tablet before she even hung up. The next half hour? A comedy of panic. She logged into Slack and purged message history. She disabled LinkedIn visibility. She wiped her browser cache. She deleted the Notes app where she once typed. He says his wife suspects. told me to lie low. All of it, gone. To her, at least. What she never grasped was that I had sent her work laptop to forward every outgoing message to a shadow email I controlled. I installed the rule the day after she accused me of being paranoid, when I asked why she started carrying her laptop to the bathroom. She told me she was on edge from work stress. Sure. Edge. Right. Every late-night message. Every attachment. Every flagged hotel confirmation that accidentally went at trash. I had them all forwarded, archived, date-stamped, and categorized. And the pièce de résistance? A screen recording I captured from her laptop during one of her working-from-home sessions. She left her mic on, and the Zoom call wasn't muted. I caught it all. Him, you know we can't get caught. Right? Her, relax. Calvin still thinks I'm prepping slide decks. He's harmless. Harmless. That word stuck in my ribs like a dull knife. She thought I was harmless because I wasn't loud, because I didn't pace or throw things. She mistook peace for weakness. Her company? Hardcore corporate compliance. One of those stiff PR-obsessed, we value family kinds of firms that sends out monthly HR memos about ethics and leadership. The kind where the wrong affair in the wrong inbox can end careers before lunch. So while she scrambled and hissed, delete, 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 I sat with Ron Leibovitz and quietly hit send to HR, to legal, to an anonymous tip line I'd found buried on their site. No message. No threats. Just a drive link. Password protected. Labeled simply, employee misconduct. By the time her text vanished from her phone, they were already under review by a VP who'd once said in a quarterly meeting, "We don't tolerate boundary violations." Period. Let's see how much strategic value her boss has now. She showed up mid-morning, still in the silk blouse from the day before, heels clicking hard against the marble lobby floor like she was storming a castle. She still believed she ruled. Hair, half done. No makeup. And for the first time in years, panic in her eyes. I was on the 8th floor, watching it all unfold from the corner monitor in my office. The same feed we use to check deliveries and verify vendor appointments. And there she was, center frame, waving her arms at the front desk like a malfunctioning wind-up toy. I need to see Calvin. Now my receptionist Erin leaned back slightly, already following protocol. She looked up at the camera. I nodded once. That's all she needed. Erin picked up the phone and said calmly, "Security, we have a non-cleared visitor refusing to leave." Tara was still pleading, flipping between soft and firm like she couldn't decide whether to cry or bark. "He's my husband. We need to talk. It's private. This is a personal matter." Erin, bless her, didn't blink. "And this is a secure workplace, ma'am." Then I watched her see it. The realization that even here she'd lost control. She turned toward the camera, looked up right at it, right at me. And I looked back cold, still didn't move. I picked up the office line and buzzed down, escort her out. No conversation. No exceptions. By the time the security guard, a former Marine named Kenny, arrived, she was already shaking. "We're married." "You can't do this, Calvin." But I could, and I had. My lawyer had filed the paperwork an hour earlier. Emergency motion, all prepped in advance. The minute she opened that envelope on our kitchen table, the wheels had already spun halfway around the track. As Kenny gently guided her toward the door, she pulled back one last time. "Calvin. Please. Just let me explain." I said nothing. I didn't even turn off the feed. She was escorted through the lobby glass doors, her reflection warping in the metal trim, like a ghost being peeled off the life she used to own. The other employees watched. They always do. Especially the ones who never liked her. The ones she dismissed at holiday parties. The interns she cut off mid-sentence. They didn't say a word, but they saw. Reputation, after all, isn't lost in fire. It's eroded quietly like this. In the silence that followed, I stood, closed the browser tab, adjusted my tie, then went back to work. The fall didn't happen all at once. It began like most corporate executions do, quietly with euphemisms. Personal leave, they called it. Her boss, Greg F., who used to strut around like a man holding court, suddenly went off the grid. No morning briefings. No Zoom links. No let's circle back emails. His calendar simply disappeared. Tara noticed first. She texted him. "Colt." No answer. Not even a read receipt. The man who used to text her "can't stop thinking about you" during staff meetings now couldn't be bothered to type a single emoji. By day 2, the whispers started. HR had launched an internal review. Not public. Not loud. Just that eerie kind of hush that descends right before the lights flicker and the axe swings. They called her in on a Thursday. Conference room C, neutral beige walls. Legal counsel seated quietly in the corner. Not introduced. That's when she knew this wasn't about team dynamics. This was an extraction. The HR rep didn't even ask her to sit before sliding a folder across the table. We received some material concerning your conduct. Tara flipped it open, still trying to maintain composure. Screenshots, message logs, a transcribed audio clip. The same one she laughed through in our kitchen. He's never going to leave his wife, but I don't care. I like the risk. There was even a still image from the hotel lobby camera. Her and Greg, not touching, but close enough that no one would believe it was a one-time slip. She blinked, swallowed hard, and then lied. This is taken out of context. We were collaborating closely on a proposal. I think someone is trying to make me look bad. HR waited, then placed a printed email on top of the stack. It was from Greg, dated 3 weeks ago. Subject line: let's keep this between us. At the bottom, his sign off. If anything happens, deny everything. The room went still. Tara stared at it like it was a foreign language. Like, maybe if she blinked enough times it would vanish. But it didn't. No yelling. No moral lectures. Just a flat corporate verdict. Your employment is terminated effective immediately. Due to breach of conduct and reputational risk, severance will not be extended. She opened her mouth, and for once, nothing came out. They escorted her to her office in silence, let her box her things under supervision. One HR rep stood beside her while another quietly removed her ID badge access in the system. It was over before she even made it to the elevator. The worst part? It didn't feel like a scandal. It felt surgical. She texted Greg again later that night. Still no reply. Not a word. Not a syllable. He was gone. And now so was she. It came at 2:13 a.m., the hour of ghosts, regrets, and now unsolicited apologies. The subject line read, please, no caps, no punctuation, just the digital equivalent of mascara smudged eyes and a shaky voice. I opened it, not because I wanted to read it, but because I already knew what it would be. These emails are never for healing. They're for control. It started predictably enough. No greeting. No, dear Calvin. Straight into the theater. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I was stupid. Please don't destroy me. Not, I'm sorry. Not, I betrayed you. Just a vague little it hovering like a ghost with no body. Then came the pivot. Let's go to therapy. You can hate me. But we're a team. You and me. We built a life. Ah, the nostalgia card. The selective memory trick. The same woman who said, so what? Is now saying, we're a team. Convenient. Next paragraph. The guilt bait. You never let people in. You always shut down. I thought you didn't care anymore. I was lonely. There it was. The gaslight. She wasn't cheating. She was reacting. I didn't get cheated on. I caused the cheating. Classic. Then came the real aim of the message. It always lives in the last line, like a tail on a scorpion. I lost my job. Please don't take everything else too. There it was. The admission of consequence. Not remorse. Not empathy. Just a tally of losses she's trying to stop from growing. This wasn't love. It was damage control in prose form. I didn't reply. Instead, I printed the email. Laserjet. Clean margins, 12 font. I stapled it, slid it into a manila folder, labeled it by hand. Emotional leverage attempt, number 1. Because this wouldn't be the last. No. This was just the beginning of her campaign. Sympathy first, then guilt, then maybe anger when nothing worked. But I wouldn't bite. She wanted to reverse engineer our story, rewrite the chapters, reframe herself as the lost but learning wife who just made one mistake. But I already knew the ending. I'd written it. She just hadn't read it yet. It was a Sunday. Bright, warm, harmless. The kind of day designed for denial. Tara chose a cafe with outdoor seating. Her favorite one, the place with lavender lattes and overpriced avocado toast, where she used to post #self-care photos like she was untouchable. She wore sunglasses big enough to hide behind, and that cream sweater she always said made her look soft but successful. Her sister was already there, gossiping about some neighbor's divorce. The irony must have hung in the air like smock, and then the courier walked up, casual, clipboard in hand. Black vest, neutral expression, the kind of guy who doesn't flinch no matter how loud the implosion. Are you, Terrell? She blinked, then adjusted her glasses, trying to summon that corporate voice she used to shut down interns and baristas alike. Yes. The man didn't even smile. You've been served. Handed her a flat envelope. Nodded once. Walked away. Just like that. She didn't open it at first. Just held it like a foreign object, as if maybe if she stared long enough, it would self-destruct. But paper doesn't flinch. It just sits heavy with consequence. Her sister leaned forward. What's that? Tara looked down. Finally sliding one manicured finger beneath the tab. Opened it. One sentence at the top of the packet. Petition for dissolution of marriage. And beneath it? Full invocation of the fidelity clause. Zero claim to shared assets. Custody of the dogs, both of them with veterinarian records proving I'd been their primary contact for 6 years. Itemized breakdown of all protected trusts. Filed. Stamped. Uncontestable. She whispered it, almost inaudibly. My husband just destroyed me. The sister looked confused. Wait, what happened? But Tara didn't answer. She just stared at the papers like they were ancient texts from a civilization that didn't care who you used to be. Around her, brunch went on. Forks clinked. People laughed. Waiters poured mimosas. The world didn't pause for her crisis. Why should it? For years she built her identity on perception, control, charm, clever little lies. But now she sat exposed, mouth dry, fingers trembling, unable to spin the narrative because this story wasn't hers anymore. I had taken the pen, and I wrote in permanent ink. She finally called not to apologize. Not to beg for love back, but for real estate. I need time, Calvin. Please. Just to stay here, until I figure things out. I can't go to my parents, and I'm not staying with my sister. You know how she is. I let her talk. Let the desperation crack through the practiced poise. The woman who once said, I don't believe in dependence, now needed shelter from the very storm she'd brewed. I didn't yell. I didn't remind her of the hotel receipts, or the messages or the smirk she wore when she dropped her little so what bomb across the dinner table like it was trivia. I simply asked, You read the lease recently? She hesitated. I did. I continued calmly. And it's in my name. Just me. Has been for 11 years. Silence. The rent? Prepaid. 6 months in advance. From my trust, you never even saw the receipts. More silence. It hung between us like wet wool. Per the coop board rules and the state tenant code, I said, flipping casually through the hard copy I'd printed days earlier. You've got 14 days from date of dissolution notice to vacate or be in breach. But where am I supposed to? Not my jurisdiction anymore, Tara. She inhaled sharply, trying to repackage the tears into something useful. I'm not trying to fight. Just don't humiliate me. Please. Oh, there it was. Not grief. Not regret. Not even the loss of the marriage. Humiliation. That's what scared her. Not losing me. Losing face. So I added one more thing. Something I knew would gut her in all the ways the papers couldn't. You remember Paul? Our neighbor upstairs sits on the CO-op board. Yes. He knows why you're leaving, I mean. The pause on the other end wasn't silence. It was implosion. Her mask, her grip, her posture, all gone. I knew what that meant to her. Not being hated, being talked about. She once spent 3 days spiraling because a neighbor's wife called her over-accessorized. And now, her carefully curated persona, the career woman, the perfect wife, the respected communicator, was being quietly dissected by the same building she used to rule with fake smiles and aggressive brunch invites. She left that night, didn't slam the door, didn't cry in the hallway. She packed like a ghost, moving through the apartment like it might bite her. Left a half-empty La Mer jar in the bathroom, a pair of red heels in the closet, and the framed photo of us and Florence on the bookshelf, still face up. I didn't touch any of it. The next morning, I had the locks changed. She still had 14 days. But she didn't come back. Not because she couldn't. Because for someone like her, nothing is more unbearable than being seen at her lowest. And now, the walls she once held together with image and arrogance knew the truth. Her kingdom? Gone. All that remained was an empty hallway, echoing with a closing door, and the quiet surgical sting of consequences finally catching up. Exactly 1 month later, almost to the minute, my phone lit up again. Her name, still there. Not because I forgot to block her, because I wanted the final notification to arrive. One last pulse from a life already amputated. Please. One coffee. One conversation. I want to feel human again. Human, again. As if that was something I stole from her. As if her humanity hadn't withered the moment she looked me in the eye over General Tissot's chicken and said, "So what?" I stared at the screen. I wasn't angry. Not anymore. No more rage. No more plans. No more contingency folders. Just closure. She didn't want coffee. She wanted audience. She wanted to crawl out of the wreckage she built and borrow my dignity to prop herself up again. I typed slowly, deliberately. No frills. No venom. Just truth, stripped of ceremony. You felt powerful when you said, "So what?" That was your moment. This is mine. Then I blocked her. Phone, email, socials. Even unsubscribed her Spotify from the shared playlist. I updated the filters on my inbox, flagged anything with her name to skip the inbox, and head straight to trash. No more echoes. Then I walked into the kitchen. The table sat exactly where it always had. Centered, unassuming, patient. I stood over it for a moment, remembering the envelope I had once placed there. The quiet weight of it. The way her world had shifted without a single raised voice. Now, nothing. No flash drives. No paper trail. No second chances. Just polished wood. Empty, and cold, and clean. Exactly like my new life. She ended it with a shrug. I ended it with a period. Thanks for watching. Take care, good luck.
Asterisk. After listening to today's story, perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind, or maybe it has brought back some old memories. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories, and they connect all of us. Everyone has their own unique journey in life, and we all try to understand the world in our own way. These kinds of moments remind us that we are all human, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, and always learning something new. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it with your friends. Your thoughts and feedback are always valuable to us, as they motivate us to create even better content. Every story has its own unique angle, and our goal is to understand everyone's perspective and make our content diverse and relatable. Stories like these help us realize that life's journey is different for everyone, and by hearing other stories, we learn something new. You can also share your own stories with us. Your experiences are valuable to us as well, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave your feedback. We aim to create content that brightens your mind and gives you new ideas every time. If you've already seen this video before, your feedback is still important. With every piece of feedback, we can improve our content and bring a new perspective to our viewers. Today, what we saw was just a small part of the many stories shared on Reddit and across the world. It's a reminder of how we all try to understand life by sharing our experiences with each other. This video was only an example of how we try to connect with others through storytelling, learning about different sides of life. We hope to continue sharing such stories that help us all learn and grow together. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon. If you haven't already, please like and follow for more amazing content. Your support keeps us going, and we will strive to bring you more thought-provoking and heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and stay curious. Asterisk.